So it's come up to 3 months now on YouTube, and I kind of want to talk about my experiences and maybe some things nobody really tells you when you start on YouTube, like why your first videos will almost always be a bit rubbish and why that's okay. So if you're starting or thinking about starting, you might have been haunted by the idea that your video needs to be perfect from day one. I used to think that too. But to be honest, most creators actually cringe at their early videos, even some of the biggest channels out there. And I think that's probably one of the best signs you're actually making progress. So for me, I think the hardest hurdle was actually just starting in the first place. Most people never even get to this stage. They overthink, they analyze, they worry about looking bad or being cringe. I was definitely there and kinda still am. I remember sitting on my first YouTube video for a few weeks, whether my voice sounded weird, if people would even watch me at all, and just generally procrastinating about it. But the real truth is, you just have to start. Looking back at my first 3 months on YouTube, I honestly wish I'd started earlier. That first time is always going to feel messy. For my first video, I didn't really know what I was doing, but it taught me more than any article or YouTube tutorial ever could. Trust me, you learn by doing. No amount of prep will teach you as much as uploading that first video. So here's my first piece of advice to anyone that might be hesitating. Upload your first video this week. It's going to be imperfect, but it will be real. And come back and tell me how it goes. Okay, so probably the most underrated thing about uploading videos onto YouTube, and that's consistency. It almost sounds boring, but it's everything. I've been trying to stick to a schedule and upload once a week. So far, I've been managing it, and I've kind of gotten into a rhythm. That's when you sort of realize that each upload chips away at your self-doubt. When you show up week after week, even if nobody's watching at first, you start building skills and confidence. I also started batch recording too, so making a couple of videos at once, which I'm going to make a video about in the future. And this basically turned out to be a massive time saver. If you can, set aside a few hours, script a few videos, then record them back to back, or maybe edit them all in one go. It makes the process less stressful and actually kind of fun. So here's another tip that I would have. Try to batch record a mini series or just a couple of videos, and it should make your workflow smoother. Another thing I wanted to mention is what most creators struggle with, and that's the fear that everyone will see you being like rubbish. But what I've learned is that feeling awkward or even embarrassed is actually a sign that you're out of your comfort zone and growing. Your brain is basically wired to keep you safe, and the unknown always feels risky at first, even if it's just uploading a video. But once you do it, that fear starts to shrink. I remember the second and third uploads felt so much easier compared to my first. I'm now on 24 videos at the time of recording this. You kind of get used to hearing your own voice. You stop worrying about the smaller things and more about the message that you're portraying. That's the most important thing. Authentic beats polished, especially in those first few months. This is something I'm definitely trying to work on in order to make my videos more engaging. And honestly, sometimes that rough around the edges style is what people will connect with most. People crave realness on YouTube. So lean in and tell your story. Ramble also if you have to. People tune in for the person, not just the info. And then probably the most important learning point for me personally. You can only watch so many tutorials before you just have to get your hands dirty. I probably wasted so much time figuring out how to make the perfect thumbnail by watching videos, reading articles, but nothing beat actually trying to make my own. Script writing, editing, creating thumbnails, it's all stuff you get better at by actually doing it, not by endlessly reading or watching other people do it. I swear I learned more in 1 week of doing than in months of research and watching tutorials. If you want to speed up your learning, you just have to go through the grind. Post, analyze, tweak, and then repeat the cycle. Also, feedback from viewers helps so much more than theoretical advice. Even the world's best athletes and artists attribute a huge chunk of their success to deliberate practice, which basically means doing the thing, making mistakes, and then fixing them. The same thing applies on YouTube. And finally, the last bit I want to talk about is analytics. This one's an interesting one. It's so easy to get obsessed with the numbers, views, clicks, watch time. I've caught myself refreshing the YouTube dashboard way more than I'd like to admit. The reality though is that analytics can help, but if you obsess over it, it's just going to kill your creativity. YouTube is a long game. You can go months with flat numbers and then suddenly things click. The best channels didn't blow up overnight. You get the data, learn what you can, but don't let it rule your self-worth. And seriously, enjoy the journey. Look back at your progress, not just the stats. I'm currently on 68 subs, which isn't a lot, but it is progress, and it's something I'm proud of. I've also found the process surprisingly fun, and it's a really good way of connecting with my creative side. When you focus on making each video a little better, not perfect, then YouTube becomes a lot more enjoyable. I read somewhere that some of the most successful YouTubers actually kept their subscriber count hidden for the first year or two. You can't do it anymore because YouTube doesn't allow you to. Their reasoning though was that it helped them to focus on content over numbers. And some of their videos performed better because there was less pressure to prove whether they were big or small. I think that's the sort of mindset and approach I'm trying to go with. So basically, just wrapping up this video, if you are thinking about starting a channel, or maybe you've just started and feel a bit overwhelmed, then it's normal to make bad videos in the beginning. Consistency is always going to be perfection, and the only real way to learn is to do. Don't get trapped in the analytics, and most importantly, just be you. Share your story and enjoy the process. Comment below if you found this useful, and be sure to hit like and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next video.